Think of him as the cowboy of comedy. Ladies and gentlemen, give a big round of applause for Charlie Wilson.
Woo!
Thank you, Tony. I think I just figured something out. I'm not a saint. My marriage recently ended. She said, yeah. She said she couldn't stand to be with me and she wanted to see other people. She's moody like that. I was the third husband, so I've always known she was a flight risk. But she lulled me into this false sense of security after 22 years. The divorce isn't final, but we are social distancing. It's more of a quarantine, really. Well, okay, technically it's a restraining order. I actually got congratulated on my divorce last week, and I really wasn't expecting that from my mother-in-law. I get advice from a lot of people, like, stay positive. So, okay, till death do we part. Honey, thank you for divorcing me and not murdering me. And she could have done it too. After all the carpools and princess birthday parties she organized, she was a really good planner. I've been working on my divorce bucket list. That list of things that married people lay awake at night thinking about never doing. Leave the toilet seat up all day long. Say something. Have sex. We used to have a nightstand on each side of the bed. But now that my ex is gone, I really just need a one-night stand. So, divorce is hard. I'm doing okay. It's an amicable divorce. But I can see some signs of my bitterness. I changed the parental controls on our Netflix account to PG. I wrote some songs. Do-do-do-do, here comes the summons. And what part of hope don't you understand? So yeah, I'm still a little bitter. As the marriage was spiraling down, I tried to spice things up by booking a stay at a nudist resort. And yeah, in hindsight, maybe a trip to Hawaii or couples counseling would have been a better idea. But you have to understand, I was desperate. She said she wanted to see other people. She certainly got to. So, a nudist resort feels a lot more normal than you would think. Except for when you're stark naked leaving your room and you hear your mother's voice. You can't go out there like that. So next time I'm getting mama on the room. They have some rules at these places. Rule number 1, no creepy staring. Rule number 2, no pictures. And rule number 3, no public display of excitement. You're supposed to cover it up with a towel or a fence. Or a traffic cone. But they're very forgiving, generous people. I mean, they give you the shirt off their back, hypothetically speaking. They're mostly hippies from the 60s. So there wasn't a lot of young people or ethnic diversity. Mostly just white shrivelage. But I don't get a lot of sun normally. So I'm kind of the whitest white boy in the place. And I feel more naked than everybody else. But I only make it worse if I try and like cover myself up, because then people think I'm just hiding rule number 3. I expected to just see a bunch of naked people sitting around the pool. But they've actually got a lot of fun games and activities. They've got ping pong, pool, pickleball. I know where the name comes from now. They play a lot of cards, mostly poker. They've got Zumba and yoga. They even do karaoke, and they encourage you to get up there and show everybody what you've got. And if you're nervous, you don't have to imagine it. Everybody is naked. It gives you this new view of anatomical diversity that you've never had before. And Victoria doesn't have any secrets. In a lot of cases, she's oversharing. And not that I was counting, but I saw more in that one day than in my entire dating life, which isn't saying much. A lot of people, I mean, it's a really friendly environment, so some people actually bring their kids. And I wouldn't bring mine because I'd be afraid it would confuse them. I mean, think of the taunts they wouldn't get. You know, liar, liar, or I see London, I see France, I see Florida. They wouldn't know how to give anybody a flat tire. You could see how nudism could complicate even an adult relationship. I mean, who wears the pants? So I had to move on, and it was time to move on. And so I signed up on a dating app called Silver Singles. And it took a while to figure out the code. But if it says NSA, that means no strings attached. And she's looking for something purely physical. And if it says companion, then she's looking for something more long-term. And if she's young and beautiful, she's probably looking for about $500. I tried speed dating, but the thing about speed dating is it just all happens so fast. So that I haven't had a whole lot of luck with the dating, and I'm out $500. So I've been spending a lot of time at the dog park with my little wire-haired terrier, and he's getting really good at the obstacle course there. The last time we were there, somebody asked if we competed, and we would, but I can't fit through those little hoops. And he's way faster than me anyway. He's afraid of dogs and people and everything. So I have to tell people that he's a traumatized rescue dog. They found him as a puppy with a broken leg, living in a cardboard box in a vacant lot in North Park. His mother was a cocaine test dog for a cartel in Sinaloa. I don't know if any of you remember a drug lord in the 80s, Pablo Escobar. But he had his own private menagerie of exotic animals. And if you were paying attention in the news in April, one of his cocaine hippos got out and was hit by a car in Colombia. Well, my dog is the direct descendant of the dogs that herded those hippos. Now, as you can imagine, terriers are pretty high-strung. Not good for them to be around a bunch of armed criminals. So he climbs into the landing gear compartment of a smuggling plane. And as that smuggling plane is on final approach to San Diego, he falls out. And it gets worse. His parachute doesn't open. So he has to use the reserve. So it's a pretty rough landing. Hence the broken leg. Now I'm a little skeptical of this story. I have never seen a vacant lot in North Park. Property there is just too expensive. Everybody at the dog park has a story about their dog. They were abandoned and found by nuns in a cornfield. They lost half a tail in a drive-by. They all have these oddly specific stories. And it got me wondering, who's making these up? Because the dog's not going to tell you what happened. There's people writing for these dogs. They must be like going to the pound to Euthanasia Row, looking for the dogs that look the most plausibly tragic, and writing their bios. You hear about dogs being put down because they're too aggressive or they bite. It's like, no, it's because they don't have a story. It's like they're pedigree. And the more specific and heartbreaking, the better. At my dog park, if your dog has 2 eyes and more than a couple legs, you can't even get into conversation. There's a common thread that runs through all of these stories. They're all rescue dogs from Mexico. So either Rescue from Mexico has a nice ring to it, or we're stealing their dogs. I mean, when does rescuing become trafficking? It's got me wondering, did a coyote bring my dog across the border? The guy at the rescue organization told me he could get me any kind of dog you want. I mean, just the voice in the trench coat were major red flags. But I don't feel like getting any kind of dog I want is in the spirit of rescuing. I don't think I should be considered a rescuer unless the dog is truly unlovable. I mean, if I see 3 guys pulled over on the freeway, helping an attractive woman change her tire, that's not a rescue. That's speed dating. If I see a dog that's losing his hair, he smells like the compost bin on garbage day, and he needs some serious dental work so he doesn't frighten children, that's a rescue. My dog is cute and soft and smart. He can sit and stay, and I wouldn't know how to open a reserve parachute. I'm not a rescuer. I might be an accessory to kidnapping. Those "who rescued who" bumper stickers really bug me. First of all, I think one of those who's should be a whom. But what I really think it should say is there's a little child in Mexico that's missing their dog. Or maybe "who rescued who" is what's running through the dog's head the first time he sees your house. What a dump! Take me back to Mexico. So, from what I can tell, they're coming across through customs by the vanful. Because they're not looking for dogs. They're looking for mules. And with all these rescues coming across the border, it had me wondering, are they taking good homes away from American dogs? But the guy at the pound assured me that they're only taking the homes that American dogs don't want. Thank you very much.